Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video. Today in this video we will be looking over the 2022 Vikings offensive roster. Let's get into it. Cue the intro. Woo! Okay guys, we can look at this list right here. You will see that Kirk Cousins is the first play on the list. Now we'll be talking about him. I'll see you in a bit. Alright guys, as you'll know, Kirk Cousins is one of the most iconic players for the Vikings. He has dominated over 4,000 passing yards in just one 2022 year. But what if I was to tell you that his stats were even bigger? Let's get into that right now. What if I was to tell you that he quite literally has over 4,117 passing yards, 27 passing touchdowns, and 11 interceptions thrown? That's pretty good though. Like if you ask me, like that's a low amount. He is a 99 overall rating. And his stats are through the roof. Now let's check out the next player on the list. Woo! And now we move on to the next player. We got Nick Mullins. See you on the analyst. Any sort of backup quarterbacks, so that makes it to a Nick Mullins never gets to play, but he's still the second. Now let's get on to the next one. Yo, what if I was to tell you that this is one of the biggest players in one franchise history, one of the best running backs in all of the NFL? He has surpassed over 2,000 running yards, maybe even more, probably even 4,000, we don't know. It's through the roof. This guy can run many passes, he can blitz through all these defensive backs, he can dominate the backfield. Anytime he gets the ball, he is there, scoring over 60 yards for touchdowns. So let's review his stats. This ought to be a good one. Woo! Not only is he one of the best rushing attempts, 244, 1,109 rushing yards, and 8 rushing touchdowns, especially that one in the big Colts game. Easy comebacks for the Vikings. Anyways, I'll be seeing you as I talk with you a little bit more about Dalvin Cook, because I think there should be a bit more explaining about this guy. Dalvin Cook has also been in many sorts of games, surpassing really far passes, runs, anything. You could put that guy beelined out there, going lateral, and he would, you throw him the ball, he could juke off the defensive back in like split second, dude. This guy can juke off anyone. This guy's a beast when the ball is in his hands. Like, yeah, it's hard to explain. Anyways, I will be seeing you for the next player. Woo! Now we move on to Alexander Madison. He is also a running back, but he doesn't get the running back much. So we are going to skip past him because there's not much to say about him right now. There's also not much to say about King. I don't know his name because he never plays, like never. And so let's move on to CJ Ham. CJ Ham ought to be a good one. This man is insane. Woo. Now CJ Ham is not that legendary with 4 rushing attempts, 7 rushing yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. He is not much to talk about either. He is just one of the secondary people. You cannot put him in much because these coaches don't put in their players that much. So therefore, his stats are pretty dang low. So we're also going to have to skip by him. Sorry, CJ. Woo! And now we got Justin Jefferson. Woo! There's a lot to say about this man. He is a beast. In my opinion, Kirk Cousins is the best, but we're gonna have to move on to Jefferson for now because JJ is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Woo! And now we move on to Justin Jefferson. He is quite literally the pioneer of the gritty. He is the one who made the dance. He is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, but he doesn't have as near yardage. Passing yards for Kirk Cousins, 4,000. Receiving yards for Justin Jefferson, 1,700 or so. Like, Jefferson is, of course, one of the most stalwart NFL players there currently is. But on the other hand, there is a few minor slip-ups with him sometimes where he misses the ball. So that leaves him on a few low averages, which I'm about to review with you. Cue the player stats. Woo! And as y'all can see right here, Justin Jefferson has made 123 receptions, 1,756 receiving yards. Not nearly as good as Kirk Cousins, passing yards over 4,000, but still, that's just my opinion. 8 receiving touchdowns. Not really that good when you're JJ, but personally I think that's a pretty good percentage right there. His receptions is 103 as I said before, but the length he can push the ball down the field is 64 and his average is 14.3. This kid is going places, but all he needs is to push it through to get into that playoffs. We already are going to it, but when we're in the playoffs, we need to push it to our heart. Also, speaking of which, we're gonna have a watch party this Sunday. There will be a watch party. We'll be watching the game against Green Bay. There will be in-game audio. It will be a live stream, so y'all can talk to me through chat if y'all have any questions. Anyways, on to the next contender. Woo! Now, on to Jalen Nailor. Jalen Nailor has got to be one of the best wide receivers, but they do not play him that much. They do not play Jalen Nailor at all, so we're gonna have to skip past him sadly. We're gonna have to bring in KJ Osborne though. He hasn't been having much good career days lately, but his percentages are a little high. So let's talk about KJ real quick. Woo! Of course, we gotta talk about KJ Osborne. Now, KJ Osborne dominated in the Colts game, dominated in the Giants game, but he hasn't been doing good all season. It is rare for him to have good career days. He always wears the number 17. You see that number 17 heading at you, dude, you know it's trouble. But the thing is that he is nowhere near. There's no way he's making Hall of Fame. He's not like Justin Jefferson. He's not like Kirk Cousins. He doesn't have much passing yards. He has 400 running yards right now. He doesn't have many catching. He doesn't have any completions. He has low stats. Let's just say that. So let me just review those with y'all real quick. Woo! As y'all can see, he has 48 receptions, 474 receiving yards, 4 receiving touchdowns. Not really that big of a deal when you are when you're competing against Jefferson for the spotlight, then you're definitely going to need to make more yardage, especially with Dalvin Cook on your hands and Hawkinson on your hands. You're screwed up right there when you mess up. So let's move on to his average. He has a 9.9 average with a 63 length. His reception still is always good. And so far, this is just his stats through 2022 through 23. I'm not really sure what to say about that part, but let me just tell y'all, about the next player. Woo! Now, as y'all can see, we have Jalen Reagor. Jalen Reagor is a sub-in, so we cannot show him sadly. We have to start off with people that are actually playing so we can review their stats. But now, Adam Thielen. Let's move on to his stats. He is an insane beast when he's on that field. 200 WT, and he is definitely a very big Minnesota fan, as he is from Minnesota State. Now, all I gotta say about that is that it's the perfect draft. He plays as number 19, and he is a beast out there. So let me review his stats with y'all. Woo! And now for Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen is a very tight player. He is 8. He is just 8 digits away from 700 receiving yards, and I find that pretty insane. He is a beast. Thielen doesn't get thrown too much, but every time he does get thrown to, he makes some incredible plays that can be remembered by many. He is definitely one of the best wide receivers, but he is not a Hall of Famer. There's no way. Jefferson's the only wide receiver, and Kirk Cousins is the only quarterback that I can think of right now that can actually be good Hall of Famers for the Vikings. But other than that, Dalvin Cook would also be one. But Thielen is different though. Thielen is a beast where he came from. He can dominate on field and off field. He is a kind man, always supporting towards his family, and he would do anything to take the Vikings to the Super Bowl if he had a chance. So let's review those stats for this. Woo! Of course, Adam Thielen has 67 receptions, 692 receiving yards, and 5 receiving touchdowns. And then he has 10.3 average with a 36 length, and of course it really does match up for those 5 touchdowns. Of course, does make sense that he doesn't get thrown too much, but still, if he did get thrown to more often, I think we'd have more touchdowns on average. We have more scores on average. Trust the system, boys. Trust the system. Anyways, on to the next dance. Woo! Up next, guys, we are doing T.J. Hawkinson. Woo! T.J. Hawkinson. We're moving on to him. He is the best tight end there is. Of course, there will be Hawkinson, and then the rest of these people we will not be going over. You can look them up. We're just trying to check out the quarterback and the other one, so we got Hawkinson. So, let's check out another one of these star players. Woo! This is what I love about T.J. Hawkinson. He used to play for the Lions, but he switched to Minnesota Vikings because the Lions kicked him off for no reason. But he was dominating for the Lions. Does that make sense? Shortly after he left the Lions and joined the Vikings, his stats started to get lower. But he will still be remembered as one of the best players for the Lions. But for us, I don't know about that. So let's review his stats. He is still considered a star player, which doesn't make sense to me because Hawkinson isn't really that great at catching, but he's still highlighted. So let's review his stats real quick, shall we? Woo! Of course, he has 39 receiving yards, 78 receptions, and 6 receiving touchdowns, a 10.8 average, and 81 length. And he is owing up for those 6 touchdowns as he dominates through, leaving everyone shook. How can he beat Adam Thielen out of that? Who knows, boys? But anyways, there you have it. I reviewed every star player for the offensive line. Now, I hope you enjoyed every single offensive star player I've showed so far. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, turn on notifications, cue the outro. Woo!